Shall we start, sir?
Yeah, it's 11 o'clock. We can start. Everybody's
Let Vijay Raghavan sir has to join.
who has to join?
Vijay Raghavan
Oh,
sir.
okay, okay, yeah. We'll wait.
He is today's our chief guest.
Yeah, we'll wait.
Vijay Raghavan sir, join you. വിജയകുമാർ സാറ് ജോയിൻ ചെയ്തോ?
വിജയരാമൻ സാർ എടുക്കുന്നില്ല ഫോൺ വിളിച്ചിട്ട്. സാർ ഫോൺ അറ്റൻഡ് ചെയ്യുന്നില്ല. തുടങ്ങാൻ സാർ. അപ്പൊ ഞാൻ ഇടയ്ക്ക് വിളിച്ചോളാം.
ശരി ശരി ശരി. ഓക്കെ ശാരിക.
Okay, sir.
സാർ നമുക്ക് തുടങ്ങാലോ അല്ലേ സാർ? സുധീർ
Please,
സാർ.
please go ahead.
ഓക്കെ സാർ.
Good morning to all. On behalf of Kerala State Council for Science, Technology and Environment, I extend a warm welcome to all the participants to the third month program conducted as part of the Azadi Ka Amrit Mahotsav initiative of Government of India. The program conducted to commemorate the 75 years of progressive India. The Department of Science and Technology, Government of India, and the state SNT councils have joined hands in organizing the 1 month, 1 team initiative as Vigyan Utsav. The theme for this month is R&D infrastructure. Before moving to today's program, let's see a short video on this month's theme. Sunil?
Recognizing the contribution of research and development in India, Honorable Prime Minister has given the slogan,
जय जवान, जय किसान, जय विज्ञान, जय अनुसंधान.
Anusandhan means research is creating new knowledge. When you do research, the doors of development start opening. The path to innovation and hence progress become clearer. Never before in history has innovation offered promise of so much to so many in so short a time. The cross-cutting nature of science, technology and innovation, STI, has the power to bring in a social change. This change can be brought about through the development of R&D infrastructure. The R&D infrastructure is an interwoven web of people, education, research, university, industry and innovation. R&D infrastructure can lead to creation of new markets of unique products, explore the untrodden lands in industry and lead the nation to progress. R&D infrastructure provides a platform to develop and implement new ideas and develop meaningful solutions for the future. With the ease of access to this infrastructure resources, the interaction between academia and government can be enhanced, leading to increased research impacts, enhances collaboration and sharing of expertise, lead to the overall development of the nation. India has huge R&D infrastructure with 400 national laboratories, 1,300 recognized in-house industrial units, besides several government departments and private institutions and foundations engaged in scientific research. R&D is also undertaken at about 358 universities in the country. There are approximately 500 foreign R&D centers in India. R&D capabilities and economic growth of nation are intertwined, and the success is determined by the innovation of technologies that compete in the global market. Now is the time to build a resilient infrastructure. Now is the time to encourage innovation and march towards an Atmanirbhar Bharat.
Welcome back. Moving on to the program, may I invite Dr. S. Pradeep Kumar, Member Secretary, Kerala State Council for Science, Technology and Environment, to welcome the distinguished guests and participants.
Thank you, Sharika. Respected Professor KP Sudhir, Executive Vice President, KCST, and Principal Secretary, Department of Science and Technology, Government of Kerala. Today is our chief guest, Sri Vijay Raghavan sir, Founder, Chief Executive Officer, Technopark, Thiruvananthapuram. Sri Balaram, Chief Executive Officer, Timid, Sri Chitra Tirunal Institute of Medical Sciences and Technology. Sri Shabir, Deputy Director of Directorate of Industries, Government of Kerala. Dear Dattan sir, Debapriya Datta, Dr. Rishmi Sharma, Dr. Naretam Sahu, who is presenting, I can see you, sir. Ravikant Prajapati and Mugun from CDAC, Office Bearers of State Science Technology Council, Dr. Vijay Kumar, Dr. Sharika, my colleagues, dear friends and participants. Yet another day for showcasing the R&D infrastructure as part of the Vigyan Utsav. The theme of Vigyan Utsav during November 2021 is R&D infrastructure at state level, and the program is hosted by Gujarat State Council for Science and Technology. Our country has a huge R&D infrastructure with 400 national laboratories, 1,300 recognized in-house industrial units, besides several government departments and private institutions and foundations engaged in scientific research. Research and development is also undertaken in 358 universities in the country. Though compared to many other states, Kerala has good R&D infrastructure represented by national research institutions, state-level institutions, universities, etc. All these institutions possess state-of-the-art laboratories undertaking cutting-edge research in frontier areas of science. Kerala State Council for Science, Technology and Environment has several programs to create R&D infrastructures in universities and in affiliated colleges. Selective augmentation of research and development, a program called SARD, is one of such unique programs which is intended to augment basic infrastructure facilities for promoting R&D activities in the state. Shastra Bhushani Laboratories is another unique program, through which we are strengthening the science education in schools of Kerala, which is aimed the science laboratories which are established in high schools. These are few programs worth mentioning and unique in its kind. I don't want to exceed much as you are eagerly waiting to hear the speeches of starwords, especially our Vijay Raghavan sir. Let me take charge of my responsibility of welcoming the gathering. Professor KP Sudhir needs no introduction as a professor of Indian Institute of Technology, Chennai, and an expert in the area of hydrology. He is well known. Now he is leading the Kerala State Council for Science Technology in the state. I welcome you, sir, to this program on behalf of the gathering and also of the scientific fraternity of the country. Sri Vijay Raghavan sir, Founder, Chief Executive Officer of the Technopark, Trivandrum, is surely the very apt person to deliver the keynote address in this program. His enormous experience in creating infrastructure and environment is known to all of us. He readily accepted our invitation and we cordially welcome you, sir, to this Festival of Science, Vigyan Utsav. Sri Balaram, Chief Executive Officer of Timid, established at Sri Chitra Tirunal Institute for Medical Science and Technology, who sets its model as incubation facilitation within no time, and Sri Balaram was the person behind it. I welcome you, sir, to this function. Surya Tangam is now the manager at Technopark Technology Business Incubation. She is known for her passionate attitude in working with startups. I welcome you, madam, to this Kerala episode of Vigyan Utsav. I sincerely welcome Sri Shabir, Deputy Director, Directorate of Industries, who is dealing with the implementation of various industrial activities in the state of Kerala. Our one of the speaker, Dr. Beena IAS, who is the chairperson of the Cochin Portals, informed her inconvenience to attend this program due to an urgent meeting with the ministry. I welcome the Member Secretary of the Gujarat State Council for Science and Technology, Narottam Sahuji, for his presence and guidance for this program. I welcome our Dattan sir, who is attending this program, and I sincerely welcome all the delegates who showed a real interest in this program. My colleagues, Dr. Vijay Kumar and Dr. Sharika, Dr. Shabirish and Sunil had taken pain enough for the successful conduct of this program. I thank and congratulate all the team for their efforts, and I sincerely welcome to this function. Thank you. Thank you all once again.
Thank you, sir. Professor K.P. Sudhir is the ex officio Principal Secretary to Department of Science and Technology, Government of Kerala, and the Executive Vice President, Kerala.
A theme per month and is being organized by one of the state councils every month, which is in association with all the other state councils. So basically an interaction between all the state councils happens and coordinated by DST. It's a very welcome initiative, and this is, I guess, in the third program participated by the Kerala State Council for Science, Technology and Environment. And the theme of this month is R&D infrastructure. And I don't need to specifically mention the importance of R&D infrastructure. I think Pradeep Kumar has already mentioned about it. The R&D infrastructure is one of the key input for conducting cutting-edge research and innovative solutions for various issues that the country is facing. And as Pradeep mentioned, there are several R&D institutes across the country at the national level, and many of them, I think there are around 17 national level institutes in the Kerala state, and there are around 14 universities in the state which do a lot of research activities in various disciplines. And this is the output of the research is evidenced by at least getting listed in the Stanford Elsevier list of which was recently published by the Stanford University for the top 2% eminent scientists. But at the same time, I should say that no, the number we should be able to increase, and to facilitate increase in cutting edge research and getting into this kind of recognition, we need to improve our R&D infrastructure, and there are specific programs aligned to improve this R&D infrastructure in the state research centers and universities planned by the Science and Technology Department through KSCSTE and also through Higher Education Department, which facilitates the kind of infrastructure and environment required for high quality research. And then through cutting edge research, we need to identify innovative solutions that can lead to a product or an implementable solution that can lead to alleviation of a problem which is the state or the country is facing. And I'm sure that the research in Kerala is focused towards the applied nature where the calamity, specifically the natural calamities, are to be addressed in a very specific way. In this occasion, I congratulate the KSCSTE for joining DST in organizing this event. And I also want to appreciate Sri Vijay Raghavan, who has readily accepted our invitation to deliver a keynote address. And I also appreciate other speakers who have actually agreed to give some address on the R&D infrastructure. The theme is going to be what would be the future of R&D infrastructure in the state or in general in the country for improvising the research and development and innovative solutions. I don't want to take much time, and thank you very much for organizing this, and I appreciate my colleagues for taking a lot of effort in organizing this. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. To provide a glance of the R&D infrastructure in the state and the initiatives of Kerala State Council for Science, Technology and Environment, I invite Dr. K. Vijayakumar, the Senior Scientist of KSCSTE. Sir, please.
Respected Executive Vice President.
Kumar, please move to the presentation mode. Yes.
Respected Executive Vice President of KCST, Professor K.P. Sudhir sir. Respected Dattan sir. Respected Member Secretary of KCST, Pradeep Kumar sir, Sri Vijayaraghvan sir, Sri Balram, Ms. Surya Tangam, Sri Shabir, Directors of all R&D centers, scientists, members of KCST and R&D centers, other dignitaries, and dear friends. Good morning to one and all. As part of the Vigyan Utsav, we are conducting this program every month, and this is the third month program, and theme is R&D infrastructure. Kerala has well-established research and development infrastructure system that is spread throughout different sectors and contributing to the overall development of the Kerala. Availability of infrastructure facility is everywhere from grassroots level to higher research programs and institutions. Well-established facilities are there at all sectors in Kerala, in education system, healthcare system, industry, R&D institutions, LSGs, and other institutions. Institutional sector. Educational sector in Kerala getting well-developed infrastructure system through the 12 universities. They are promoting education and research in science and technology. These are different universities: the Kerala University of Digital Science and Innovation, APJ Abdul Kalam Technology University, Kerala University for Fisheries. So we are having these universities, and all these universities have well-developed infrastructure systems. All these universities are supporting cutting-edge research through interinstitutional cooperation. Basic and higher level education is provided to all in Kerala and are attracted to these institutions because of the facilities available there. That may be one of the reasons for higher literacy rate in Kerala. This is evident from the number of educational institutions in Kerala. You can see that the number of schools there in Kerala, that is about 14,600. Different types of government aided, CBSE, Navodaya schools are there. In colleges, you can see the number of colleges, 667 colleges, and engineering colleges, 210, and in polytechnic having. So this type of vast number of institutions are there with the good infrastructure facility. In addition to the schools and colleges, we are having a lot of institutions supporting basic and higher education systems in Kerala. You can see the different institutions supporting education in Kerala. Kerala, the Higher Education Council, Human Resource Department, Center for Continuing Education. So likewise, we are having a number of institutions supporting the education in Kerala, and all these institutions have well-developed R&D infrastructure systems. In the next level, we can see that the students and the researchers are supported with the institutions having higher R&D infrastructure for developing their career. This group was headed by the Kerala University of Digital Science and Innovation Technology, and there are many other institutions like KDIS, Kerala Startup Mission Innovation. So different institutions are there with the well-developed infrastructure to support the youngsters for developing their careers. And coming to the health sector, we are having a University of Health Sciences and a very strong healthcare sector with a well-developed R&D infrastructure system. Our primary healthcare system, you can see that the primary healthcare system consists of PHCs and CHCs. Well, number of institutions are there. In the secondary healthcare, there are taluk hospitals, general hospitals, and the tertiary healthcare system. Government medical college 14 and private medical college in 24, besides the Ayush institutions in Kerala. So, in addition to these institutions, there are many institutions supporting health sector. They are the Institution of Advanced Virology, the newly evolved institutions for conducting research in the virology area, the Regional Cancer Center, Child Development Center, Indian Institute of Diabetics. So, such many institutions are there supporting the health system in Kerala. And apart from education and healthcare system, the R&D infrastructure is well established in our industry sector, as evident from the number of institutions provided here. You can see the number of more than 50 institutions are there supporting the industry in Kerala, and all these institutions have well-developed infrastructure system for the development of the Kerala and supporting favorably for the development of Kerala. They are the Kerala State Industry Development Corporation, Kerala State Mineral Development Corporation, Kerala State Small Scale Development. So, like, we are having more than 50 institutions supporting the overall development of Kerala, and all these institutions have well-developed infrastructure systems. So, coming to the next sector, it's a systems or institutions supporting food and agriculture. This area is headed by Kerala Agriculture University and Kerala Veterinary and Animal Science University. So, a number of institutions are also there supporting in this area. All are having good infrastructure development and providing good support to the development of Kerala. Other institutions, a lot of other institutions are also supporting Kerala. They are the Biodiversity Board, Electricity Board. So, all these institutions are having good support to the Kerala. Other than state institutions, we are having good number of institutions working in Kerala, and more than 45 government institutions are working in the science and technology area of Kerala. They are the Vikram Sarabhai Center, Institute of Management, Indian Institute of Technology, National Institute of Technology, ICER. So, different institutions are there. They are contributing much to the development of Kerala, and all these institutions are helping Kerala, and they are providing facilities for research and development to the students, faculty, and different sectors of Kerala. And this is another institution. It's exclusively for infrastructure or instrumentation facilitation. This is CLIF. This is established under Kerala University in 2016, and this is providing help for the students in colleges, in industries, or faculties in colleges, and they have a wide array of modern equipments for providing infrastructure support to the students and faculty. And coming to KSCSTE, it is a unique council in India having different R&D institutions and programs for the development of the state. R&D facilities and infrastructures are available for higher research in all these institutions. We are having 8 institutions: PWIM Center for Water Resource Development and Management, Jawaharlal Nehru Tropical Botanic Garden, Kerala Forest Institute, Kerala School of Mathematics, Srinivasa Ramanujan Institute of Basic Sciences, National Transportation Planning and Research Institute, Malabar Botanic Garden, Institute of Climate Changes. All these institutions have well-developed infrastructure systems and support Kerala in different activities and for the overall development of Kerala. And CWRDM, it is located to Kozhikode, and different, and we have earned a lot of infrastructure development equipments during the last 5 years. Next is Jawaharlal Nehru Tropical Botanic Garden, instituted at Palod near Trivandrum, and this institute is also having a lot of infrastructure and supporting the Kerala for its development. Next is KFRA is at Thrissur, and it's also having infrastructure, and its main area is on the forest development. And there in KFRA, the KSCSTE has developed an institution and an organization for strengthening the infrastructure development. That is the CAIK, the Center for Analytical Instrumentation Kerala. And this institution is providing, this group is providing a lot of instruments, and faculty, students, and who are interested in this will get support from this infrastructure facility. And we are having National Transportation Planning and Research Center at Trivandrum, and this institution will also provide adequate support to the development of Kerala in the planning of road and other things. And Malabar Botanic Garden, it is at also Kozhikode. It is mostly for the lower groups of plants. There also we have well-developed infrastructure systems. And the another one is Sophisticated Test and Instrumentation Center STEAK. It's a granted center of KSCSTE. It was an autonomous institution and supported with the KSCSTE and also with the QSAT. There also we are having a number of instruments, good infrastructure facility for supporting the students and the faculty. And coming to the KSCSTE R&D infrastructure development, we are having 3 programs for supporting infrastructure development. Selective augmentation of infrastructure development is SAD, then Shastra Poshani, and then REAP. And the SAD, through the SAD, we have given a lot of instruments. We have strengthened the laboratories, we have strengthened the departments of colleges, universities, different R&D institutions from 2003 onwards. For the last 17 years, we are supporting for the infrastructure development in different institutions throughout the Kerala, and in the last 5 years, we have supported 17 institutions with a number of instruments for the research and development activities in the states. These are the instruments, some of the instruments. And another program we are having is Shastra Poshani, and it is a very unique program of KSCSTE. These actually aim to establish model science laboratories in physics, chemistry, and biology to create an academic condition in the schools. You know, in schools, you can see the through this program, we can inculcate the scientific temper among the students, and gradually we can lead them to the field of science and research. So this was attracted the attention of all in Kerala, and this was one of the successful program of Kerala. And we have supported a lot of institutions, about 221 schools in Kerala during these years. So from here we can see that the KSCSTE is supporting the students from schools through the Shastra Poshani, through SPITIS. There is another project mode program. Then we are supporting colleges through students program, and we are supporting the undergraduate students. There are programs for undergraduate students. There are programs for PG students. These postdoctoral fellowships. There are programs for faculty. There is a research fund programs. There are programs for different other category, and also for the retired scientists. So from the school level to the retired scientists, we are supporting all in Kerala for conducting research and coming to the area of science and technology. So this is a program, REAP. You can see that this REAP is in Research Equipment Awareness Portal. This was developed in July 30 of this year, and actually this is provide an information of analytical instrumentation facility in various academic institutions throughout Kerala. This is very important to KSCSTE because KSCSTE is supporting the R&D infrastructure from last 17 years in different institutions. We have provided a lot of instruments to the institutions in Kerala through our ASAD, Science Research Scheme, then ETP, and Ecology and Environment programs. So all these instruments are there in different institutions, and through this REAP, we'll get an idea of the array of institutions in different institutions, where they are located, and the and where we can go for the testing and analysis. All such facilities are there in this. REAP will provide all such facilities, and this is a unique program of KSCSTE. So finally, coming to the support of Kerala, is KSCSTE is having well-established R&D infrastructure, and also Kerala is also having well-established infrastructure development for conducting research, promoting education, and supporting the students and the faculty for their career development. Thank you. Thank you very much for patience. Listen.
Thank you, sir. Sri G. Vijayaraghavan is a visionary who changed the landscape of the IT sector in Kerala. He is the founder, Chief Executive Officer of Technopark Trivandrum and a former member of the Kerala State Planning Board. He is also the founder director of National Institute of Speech and Hearing, NISH, and the honorary director of Center for Autism and Other Disabilities Rehabilitation Research and Education. A graduate in electrical engineering from the University of Kerala, he started his career at HCL and later joined Mohsin Haider Darwish LLC in Oman. Back in Kerala, he became the founder CEO of Technopark, an initiative of Government of Kerala, wherein he conceptualized, planned, implemented, and marketed India's first electronic technology park, the Technopark Trivandrum, which continues to be one of the best technology centers in India, and has the record of having the highest generation of economic activity and employment per unit of geographical area, as well as the highest concentration of FDI. He was also a member of High Power Committee that conceptualized, implemented, and oversaw several programs, including Cochlear Implant Program, and a member of the expert advisory panel constituted by the Government of Kerala to advise on the delivery of digital services to the people and corporates. It's indeed my privilege to invite Sri G. Vijayaraghavan for the keynote address. Over to you, sir.
Good morning, and thank you, Sarika, for that very long introduction, a bit too long, maybe. Chairman of this meeting, Dr. Sudhir, Dr. Pradeep, Dr. Vijay Kumar. I see Dr. Chandradattan on the call. Ladies and gentlemen, eminent scientists from around the state and the country. First of all, thank you very much for inviting me to be part of this Vigyan Utsav session today. And I consider it an honor that you've invited me to this. For me, my relationship with what is now today the State Council was originally the State Committee. Can you hear me? Can you all hear me?
Yes, sir. Yes.
Yes, sir. Yes.
Okay, good. Yeah. Which was originally the State Committee, started sometime in 1990 when the then Chief Minister, Mr. Nayanar, asked me to join in, and I said, I neither have a PhD nor am I a scientist. And he said that the council is, the committee is a State Committee on Science, Technology and Environment. So you have the technology background, so you should become part of it. Some of the best relationships I built up during that period when I was a member of the committee, which I continued for several years with successive governments, was meeting with people like MP Parameswaran, Professor RVG Menon, Professor Prasad, Dr. Iqbal, several others. And for me, it gave me an in-depth view of what the state was doing in the area of science and technology. And from what I've seen around the country, I think Kerala can be very proud that it set up some of the best institutions, some of whom over a period of time have become central government institutions, like the Rajiv Gandhi Center for Biotechnology or the National Center for Earth Science Studies, which was originally a state government institution. So I think in a way we have definitely, in terms of science and technology institutions, Kerala in a way has been a role model for the country, and we continue to do that. Why is it important to have high quality infrastructure? It's basically because we need to ensure that our young scientists, and I actually say that these institutions are not for those who are on the verge of retirement or are going to retire in a few years' time. All our institutions, the biggest focus should be on our young scientists who join these institutions. we need to expose them to the best in the world. We need to expose them because there is no reason why 10 years, 15 years, 20 years from now, one of them cannot become a Nobel laureate. All right, many of those who have become Nobel laureates across the world have not worked in the best institutions to start with. Okay? But you find that many of those from India who have got the Nobel laureates, who got the Nobel prizes, are people who have gone abroad, worked, and got that. And I remember the first visit that I did to Stanford University, and I had the opportunity or the privilege to take the then Chief Minister, Mr. Nayanar, with me. And as we were walking, Professor Thomas Kailash, again a very eminent son of Kerala, who was actually given the Padma Bhushan by the country a few years ago, got the National Science Medal from President Obama. He was taking us around and he was telling us, oh, that person, there's some disturbance. Saying us that person is a Nobel laureate in this area. This person is a Nobel laureate in that area. She was going to and she said, oh, in that building is a Nobel laureate in the area of physics. And after some time, Mr. Nayanar, in his typical, very light-hearted manner, he said, ഇവിടെ നോബിളുമാരെ തട്ടിയിട്ട് നടക്കാൻ വയ്യ, which means we can't move around without touching a Nobel laureate. നമ്മുടെ നാട്ടിൽ തൂത്ത് പറഞ്ഞവരെ കിട്ടില്ല. But the thing there is that as a state, as a government, I think it is our responsibility. I think there's a lot of disturbance coming from, I don't know, Mr. Harinarayan's area is what I think is coming in from. Okay, so there's a lot. So he was telling, it is our responsibility to provide opportunity, provide infrastructure and the right kind of mentoring to the young scientists. And that is what I think, to some extent, our research laboratories have been doing. But unfortunately, I should tell you that one of the things which I have seen, and I think we need to make a conscious change, there's a lot of inbreeding that is happening. Okay, people who tend to be working, continue to be working there, we don't have fresh blood coming in. So we need to look at how do we bring in people from across? How do we look at infrastructure being shared across national laboratories, state laboratories in the state, across the country? We also need to be looking at how do we identify talent in such a manner that it is not that, after, you get into a grade 1, your scientist 1, 2, 3, or A, B, C, D, E, F, depending on the number of years you put. But some kind of a system of meritocracy needs to come in. And this is something which again is very important. One of the things which I should say, going back to the days when I sat on the committee and then the council, and like I said, I had the privilege of working with people like Professor Balakrishnan Nair, who was the chairman when I joined, and I went on to work with all the chairmen until Dr. Valyathan, where that is a time when the council came into effect, where all the scientific labs came together. Even though there was a lot of this thing there to say, why should they come together? I think from a point of view of administration and from the point of view of oversight, it was better that it came under one head, which is what Dr. Sudhir does today. And that gives you an opportunity to ensure that there is no duplication of infrastructure across the state. For somebody who sat on the state planning board for a total of about 6 or 7 years in 2 states, I should tell you that resources should never be a constraint, or are never a constraint. It is only how big are we thinking about? What do we really want to do and how do we bring that in, which really matters? And I'm sure that identification of resources is something which can be done. The other big thing which has happened, and this is something which is important for us, when this state council was set up, one of the biggest reasons for doing that was to ensure there was autonomy that is available right down the line. And I hope that autonomy is being this thing, because the head of the state council actually reports into the chief minister. So you really, and I think has the powers of the secretary to government, which very clearly means that you have the eyes and ears of the highest powers in the state. And I think those powers need to be utilized for the autonomy that is required to go down the line to the various research institutions. Another thing which is there is one needs to look at how do we collaborate with institutions around the world. How do we work with institutions which are doing similar work as ourselves? I know there are certain restrictions today in terms of working with foreign institutions, but I think that should be done. But the biggest advantage that we have, especially for the labs and research centers in Kerala, that the number of Malayalis, the number of people of Kerala origin, the number of people of Indian origin who work around the world in various areas are so large that it is necessary that we look at how do we collaborate with them, how do we utilize their expertise to help our scientists, especially the young scientists, in such a manner that we can go forward. I would like to take the next 5 to 10 minutes to focus on just one area, and that is on Ayurveda. Okay, I did see the thing where you talked about, where I think Dr. Vijay talked about Ayurveda. Look, Ayurveda is an area which we all recognize Kerala as an edge in. But unfortunately, the amount of research that is done there, which is acceptable internationally, is very, very limited. I think it is necessary for us to have an institution. I know there was a consortium set up several years ago with industry and our Ayurveda colleges, etc., to work together. But I think it's necessary for us to actually set up, because I believe that the first or the next Nobel Prize which India may get, or an Indian may get from India, could be in the area of Ayurveda. Because if you remember, the Chinese doctor who got the Nobel for medicine several years ago was a person who was practicing Chinese medicine. And why I'm telling this, that over the last 5 or 6 years, I've been looking closely at Ayurveda because of my interest in the area of autism. And I find that there are options, not really cures, but there are options and work in the area of Ayurveda can be done. So I'm sure that there are several other areas where we can do work there. So it is necessary for us to set up what I would call a center of excellence in the area of Ayurvedic research, which can collaborate with our other institutions, but not necessarily become part of one of them, because unfortunately the problem we have is most of our institutions are carrying a lot of old baggage. Now that baggage will actually slow down things. So we need to look at, in a way, setting up something completely separate in the area of Ayurveda, because I think that is something which would have a lot of benefit. And I remember, and I normally quote Dr. Valyathan when I talk to Dr. Valyathan, who for all of us was a great guru and a guide, is somebody who was known as a person working in the area of, he was a cardiac surgeon, world famous. He was the chairman of the Indian Science Academy. But his focus and his books on Ayurveda actually make it very clear that Ayurveda is something which even people practicing modern science should be looking at. So, and I also heard that Ayurveda is something where it's not only related to medicine, but to the other sciences in life. So it would be good if we can look at doing that. And with the present central government that we have, I'm sure that it will be possible for us to look at an institution in that area, which is focusing only on research. But we may have to shed some of our old baggage, because when I called a meeting of about 16 Ayurveda researchers or professors or doctors from around Kerala, many of them, to look at autism, they said, we don't need to prove to the world, we do it ourselves. So I think we need to start proving to the world in the way they understand that this is a different science. Ayurveda is a science, and we need to do something in that area. So this is one of the areas where I think it is necessary for us to look at. We need to identify such areas where you set up institutions to which people from our other institutions can come and work. Today, there is not too much of collaboration between our laboratories. I would say very little collaboration between our universities and our research centers, even though there is some level of doing that. I tried when I was in the planning board and earlier when I was with the state to look at projects which were joint projects. We look at joint projects where infrastructure would be shared, but they are working with multiple institutions to come together and do that, because the strengths that we have, and there is a lot of overlap that was there between many institutions. So it is necessary for us to look at how can we collaborate with our own institutions, other institutions, and the private sector to come and look forward in terms of what we have. Another area where I don't know whether we've started, I know that we have the Kerala School of Mathematics, which was set up in Kozhikode, and I did have a good discussion with Dr. Sudhir where he, because I had written a small note on that, and, where I said nothing much was happening. He did tell me that the changes that are happening there, and I was happy to hear that, which Dr. Balitan set up initially with, and I think even today it is a joint program of the Kerala State Council and the Department of Atomic Energy. I think mathematics is an area that we need to focus on. And the reason for that, of course, is, as all of you know, the Kerala school, I'm not talking of the present one in Calicut, the Kerala school, which even today is discussed heavily in areas like Cambridge and other places because of people like Madhava and Nilakanta, who were around, I think, Tirur and around Idyalakuda areas. Some of those manas are doing well. We need to look back, try to see what is it, why did we, because there's a big gap between that time and what we are in today. Some of it was probably forced on us because we were conquered, some of it because we did not pursue it further. So it's necessary for us to look at, this doesn't need huge money, it only needs people who are focused in that area to say, look, I want to do something there. Because I would say that it is in our genes. Mathematics is in our genes and we can do something there. So I would say focus on some of these areas. Look at centers of excellence coming up with that. Even if we have to set up new institutions, it is okay. I know there will always be a thing saying, why do you want one more institution? I would say set up new institutions or carve them out of existing institutions to set up institutions which can be not nationally recognized, but should become internationally recognized. We today have the potential to do that. We have people who've grown out of our states. I mean, unfortunately, Thanu Padmanabhan, who died last year, was somebody who came out of our university college in Trivandrum, right? So you're talking of people definitely who've been able to grow out from here and become internationally acceptable. We need to try and see how we can bring some of them back to Kerala and how do we grow them. And that is what C. Achyuta Menon did in the initial years when he was setting up many of our research institutions. We then had several others, Sri Chitra, the Rajiv Gandhi Center for Biotechnology, which all came in later on. And this all had a history behind it. There were people behind that who were driving it. Another area which I think we should be looking at, and I think there was, in the central budget speech a couple of years ago, I heard a focus in the area of quantum computing. Quantum computing, quantum physics, quantum mathematics is an area where we need to be looking at and doing work in that area. And I think the most important thing is to look at interdisciplinary research, which we do when we work across institutions and try to do that. There are these inter-university centers which are in the universities, and of course I know people like Achyut Shankar who do some good work in that area. It is necessary to set more of them, but it will be good to actually have individual centers of excellence where we need to do it. We need to think, and I would say we need to think really big. We should not get constrained by where we are or what we have. We need to think really big. That's what I've tried to do with the institutions where I've been involved. We've tried to, when we did Technopark, we said it needs to be the best. We couldn't talk of anything about it being the best, so we actually said it's the world's greenest technology park. All right, when we started on niche, we said it has to become the best in the country. And I think today it is recognized to be the best in the country. When I do the Center for Autism and Other Disabilities Rehabilitation Research Education, where I'm sitting at this point of time, I spend a few hours here every day. It was very clear that we need to be the best in the country. We need to be the best in Asia. So this is something which I think is necessary for us. We need to make our young scientists think really big. They need to think out of the box. We don't allow them to be constrained by, and with due respect to the senior scientists who are on this, I'm going to talk of two anecdotes which I mentioned before. One was with one of the universities in Kerala, where several years ago I had a professor from an American professor who called me from, I think it was Caltech. He called me and said, there are two young scientists in this university, in a particular university of Kerala, not mentioning it, who are doing some very good work in the area, in a specific area. I would like you to establish contact with them. And I said, good. I contacted the department, found them, I sent their contact details. And then this professor called me, thanked me, and he said, great, I want to actually invite them to the US. I said, please go ahead and do that. And about a month later, he calls me and he's furious. And he's furious because he said, I don't want their professor, I want them there. The problem is when the invite came, the professor said he would come. So I called up both these young scientists and said them, why are you not going? They said, sorry, we can't. The professor said he wants to go. And if we go, we are going to lose out because I have only 6 more months for my thesis. The other said my thesis is submitted, and if the professor doesn't accept, I'm going to have a problem. This is something which definitely cannot be accepted. We need to ensure that the culture in our research institutions and universities change. The other one, which I'm going to talk about, is even more sadder because when I was at the planning board, I did some quick studies and I found that there were colleges in Kerala which get more money for research projects from UGC and the Department of Science and Technology than the entire university gets at the university centers. One of them, of course, was, I think, the St. Thomas College in Pala, which was doing some very good work. But I then found out there was a government college which was getting a lot of money. And I identified that young professor, a young lady. I called her up and spoke to her and said, I would like to showcase you for the rest of the colleges. I said, please don't do it. Because if it comes to be known that I'm getting this kind of support, they are going to transfer me out or I will have a problem with the unions. So I would say that mindset has to change. I'm sorry for having raised these two issues here, but it is necessary for us to change the mindset of the senior scientific community to ensure that we actually support young people. And it becomes the responsibility of people like those who sit on the council, Dr. Sudhir, the directors of institutions, to ensure that the talent is not suppressed. Many a time talent is suppressed and that talent actually either leaves or actually gets destroyed within our system. So it is necessary for us to do that. Once again, thank you very much for having invited me to this session. I've shared some of my thoughts. I think it's good that you're taking a lead in doing this. I thank the Government of India for actually launching the Vigyan Utsav series. A very good thing there, and I congratulate the State Council for the effort that is done, and specifically thank you for having invited me to deliver this address here. Very eminent speakers, many of them whom I know, C. Balram, I think others on the group will be coming in on the call later on. But thank you very much, and thanks a lot for inviting me to see. I don't know whether it's a session on questions, but I can stay on for another few minutes if required. So thank you very much.
Thank you so much, sir, for those words of wisdom and providing a lot of valuable inputs on the areas to be focused upon for research, and also the need for collaborative and interdisciplinary research, and also the thrust to be given for a change in research culture as well as the mindset. Thank you so much, sir. And now we had scheduled the next talk by Dr. M. Beena IAS, and she has informed that she's her inability to attend this particular program because she has an urgent meeting with the minister. So I'll now call upon the next speaker, Sri S. Balram, as the Chief Executive Officer of TIMED, that is the Technology Business Incubator for Medical Devices and Biomaterials of Sri Chitra Tirunal Institute for Medical Sciences and Technology, Thiruvananthapuram. He has joined Sri Chitra Tirunal Institute in 1994 and since then served at various capacities there. His areas of interest are in medical devices technology, medical devices regulation, commercialization of research, industry academia interaction, intellectual property rights, and incubation. I'm privileged to invite Sri S. Balram for the invited talk on revitalizing R&D infrastructure startups. Over to you, sir.
Yeah, thank you. Before I speak, I just want to confirm that the audio is
Yes, it's clear, sir. Clear, sir.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, so good afternoon, respected dignitaries, friends from the scientific community, the organizers, and all the participants in this very important, thought-provoking session. As a proud Indian and a professional engaged in nurturing startups, I have immense pleasure in participating in this event organized as part of Azadi Ka Amrit Mahotsav being conducted across India, and to share some thoughts on the role and relevance of technology startups in revitalizing R&D infrastructure in the Indian context. I just had the pleasure of listening to Sri Vijay, and he had in his own natural style, he has made a very thought-provoking speech, and I'm not sure how much I'll be able to get your attention, but I hope you would find this also equally interesting. So, like I was introduced, I am affiliated to the Sri Chitra Tirunal Institute. It may not require an introduction to the people of Kerala, but for those outsiders, I would just like to mention that Sri Chitra Tirunal Institute for Medical Sciences and Technology, located at Trivandrum, is an institute of national importance under the Department of Science and Technology, perhaps the only institution in the medical field which is under the science and technology, which shows that the importance the government places on research and development as far as the mandate of this institute is concerned. Now, this institute had been focusing on research for application, and had developed several biomedicals which successfully commercialized and placed in the market. And based on those experiences, we went one step further in 2015 and set up a technology business incubator to nurture startups. So I have been involved in nurturing these startups in the last couple of years, and it has opened up a totally new area for me, because as a person who is looking at science from the research point of view, these aspects of commercialization, business, economics, and all those things were totally new. But once I got into this area, this opened up my eyesight and vision to the host of opportunities, the challenges, and the fact that as members of scientific community, we need to really understand the potential, the huge potential this area of startups and entrepreneurship holds as far as the science and technology is also concerned. So what I am going to speak in the next few minutes is based on those observations. So we all know that advances in research and technology have transformed agriculture, health, transportation, communication, energy, manufacturing, all these sectors across the globe. And there is no two thoughts about the fact that technology-driven innovation is crucial to development. Investments in R&D infrastructure and human resources, these are two primary requirements for any effort at innovation driven economic growth. Traditionally, universities and public funded research institutions were globally the centers of research and innovation. Research output would generally be dependent on faculty and research programs, on grants, on availability of funding support, and huge research infrastructure. But now it is being universally recognized and proven that entrepreneurship among the young population through the creation of startups is a key element for societal change, economic expansion, and innovation. The Indian government has also realized the immense potential of this fact and in recent years supported the growth of science and technology startup ecosystem by setting up several incubators and accelerators. High quality talent is now encouraged to try its hand at entrepreneurship. And there is also general financial support from the government for commercialization of scientific research. The government, under the Startup India initiative, is promoting research parks, technology incubators, and patent system that would promote innovative ideas until they become commercial ventures. Thanks to these efforts, today India's startup ecosystem is third only to the US and the United Kingdom. The number of startups in our country has now gone up to over 50,000. And a good number of these startups are technology based and technology driven startups. And they are now focusing on scientific and technological innovations. The startup ecosystem is very encouraging and emerging in the country to support R&D and technology innovations with support of good infrastructure network. We have now tinkering labs starting from the schools to incubators, innovation centers in technical institutions, research parks coming up in institutions of higher learning. There is also a recent initiative. There is a policy being developed to promote innovation in the medical schools and to inculcate the spirit of innovation in medical students also. And then there is a fast growing community of angel investors, venture capital firms, which are supporting these startups. All these are the essential ingredients that will nurture startups. And responding to these opportunities that are being provided, it is very heartening that several startups in India are today pushing the latest innovation and finding a competitive advantage. And they are collaborating and co-creating with universities and research centers. And the startups have also started making impact in the last couple of years. India has also become a choice of destination for setting up research and development centers by global companies. Companies in the information technology areas, the automobile, pharmaceutical, telecommunication sector, all of them have set up their technology centers in India to step up their R&D initiatives. The primary reason why these companies have now started investing in India, setting up their R&D in India is not just the cost advantage. Many of these MNCs have spotted the opportunity that lies in working with the Indian startups. Most of these MNCs are now strengthening their efforts by investing in the local startup ecosystem and trying to create breakthroughs by working with these startups. These big companies have started investing as well as incubating with the very early stage small tech startups, and they are trying to solve the local issues because the startups which are coming up in India are at a better position to understand the unmet needs that the Indian society has, whereas the big companies are unable to understand and identify those requirements. So the companies have realized that startups are the fastest way to develop a product and make it ready for countries like India. The startups also are able to very quickly and effectively map the technology trends what is happening. They are able to foresee the future. They gain the industry insights and collaborate. And a lot of academia industry partnership, joint talent development, and R&D initiatives are happening in the country thanks to the startups. Among other things, startups are at the forefront of the digital revolution in the country, and making use of the opportunities lying in big data, deep technology, and smart technologies. We see a large number of startups working on fintech, retail, edutech, agritech, auto, consumer products. All those have started making an impact in our day-to-day lives. The way we are using the apps, mobile apps for financial transactions, or the revolution in educational delivery during this pandemic. All these things are being contributions of startups mostly. And startups using these technology, intelligence, blockchain, cyber security, and what we are witnessing today is what is generally called as Industry 4.0. So Industry 4.0 is essentially a range of technologies combining hardware, software, and biology. Very interestingly, the cyber physical systems, where there is emphasis on communication and connectivity. Technologies such as IoT, intelligent edge, mixed reality, and digital twins, 3D printing, distributed ledger, AI, cognitive systems, bioengineering, quantum computing, all these are emerging future technologies. Most of these are being exploited and explored by the startups. So there is a blending of digital and physical worlds with deployment of sensors, mobile devices, drones, wearables, which are creating an impact in all this. So in all these emerging areas, it is the startups which are leading the way all over the world, and also true in India. When it comes to the life science sector or the healthcare sector also, India has got some good positive impacts, and India today is in the 12th position in the world as far as the biotech startups are concerned. Biotech startups are exploring the new emerging technologies and tools and working on exciting areas such as use of 3D printing for functional human tissues, or for drug research, or for utilizing the genome data with an attempt to find cure for diseases where there is none today. We may also be recalled Indian startup My Labs, which came up with the first ICMR approved indigenous RT-PCR kit for COVID testing during the pandemic. Very recently, just early this week, a Bangalore-based startup called Bugworks has made a breakthrough, and it has announced the next generation broad spectrum antibiotic BWCO 977, which is entering a clinical trial phase 1. This is going to be a game changer because it is trying to find cure for combating the antimicrobial resistance or the multi-drug resistance, which is an issue confronting the whole world, and presently there is no cure for that. Now, this startup is supported by the Department of Biotechnology, and is a classic example of what we called Vigyan se Vikas in our country. Coming back to my institute, the Sri Chitra Tirunal Institute, like I said in the beginning, in 2015, we also realized the potential of startups, and we took upon the responsibility of setting up TimeMed, technology incubation for medical devices, And this is a technology business incubator focusing exclusively on healthcare startups. And it is also supported by the Department of Science and Technology, Government of India. So we at TimeEd provide a very nurturing ecosystem to help innovators and entrepreneurs move from an idea stage to prototyping or all the way to a successful product launch. Many of the startups at TimeEd have been availing the support of institutions like the Kerala Startup Mission, the KSIDC, the Kerala Council for Science and Technology for various activities. I'm very happy to share on this occasion that one of these startups supported or incubated at TimeEd called SASCAN Meditech Private Limited was adjudged the winner of the Startup India Grand Challenge 2021 just last month. This grand challenge was conducted by the Department of Pharmaceuticals on a national basis. More than 300 startups had participated. There was rigorous screening, and in the medical device category, our Kerala-based startup SASCAN emerged as the victor. Now, this SASCAN MedTech is actually a science-led startup, which is focusing on application of biophotonics for screening and cure of cancer. It has already launched a portable handheld optical device for oral cancer screening, and is developing other products for cervical cancer and photodynamic therapy devices. And we hope that this will make a good impact as far as the oral, as far as the cancer health is concerned in the country. This startup was also supported by grants from various government schemes, and both from the Kerala Startup Mission and the Department of Science and Technology. There are several exciting opportunities available for youngsters and innovators who want to pursue their startup dreams, and many of these schemes are very generous. They provide good grants and support the startups right from the idea stage. And one of these schemes that is very attractive is called the Nidhi. Nidhi stands for nurturing startups through scouting, supporting and scaling innovations. And there are schemes like Prayas, which give you prototyping grants. And then there is also provision for to invest to take, which means to take equity to the early stage technology-based startups. Because when you are at an early stage, the risks are very high, and it may not be possible to get the private investments. So in such situations, the Department of Science and Technology, or the Department of Biotechnology, or the Department of Information Technology, all those officers have ample funding opportunities, and many of the innovative startups are also making use of these schemes and taking their ideas forward. And it is only a matter of time that we'll start reaping the benefits of all this innovation, all these science-led startups making an impact. So we at TimeEd have a very good experience, and we find that there is a huge potential for these science-led innovations to translate the research that is happening in the labs. And it is this, and I think more awareness is required to inculcate and foster the spirit of entrepreneurship. In most of these institutions, the research institutions or the academic institutions, faculty and students are not aware of the fact that there is an opportunity beyond traditional career goals. There is a huge opportunity awaiting them to experiment their ideas, and there is a support system available to try out their ideas and maybe take it forward towards commercialization. And we have also now set up a regional technology transfer office, which is supported by the National Biopharma Mission. And our mandate is to provide this kind of awareness and hand-holding to other academic institutions to show them the potential of protecting their IP, and then working with industry, and then see that their ideas are translated into commercial products. So these have been the activities that we have been doing in our own small way. And I'm very happy that platforms like this, which is provided today, is giving us an opportunity to share our experience and make it known to the audience. Most of the activities that we do is still to reach the end users, and I'm sure forums like this will go a long way in disseminating this information. I would also, before I conclude, take this opportunity to invite all of you, at least those who are in Trivandrum or Kerala, to visit us at Timad and see for yourself whatever small impact we have been doing. Perhaps I may not be a good speaker, but as a doer, I think I can showcase to you what activities we have done. So I take this opportunity to also invite all of you. Thank you. Thank you for this opportunity.
Thank you, sir, for providing us information about the status of our startup ecosystem and also the initiatives and programs for supporting startups and innovation incubation centers, and also detailing the facilities and activities at Timad at Sri Chitra Tirunal Institute. Thank you so much, sir. And now we have Ms. Surya Tankam. Surya Tankam is the Manager, Innovation, Financing and Procurement of Technopark Trivandrum. A manager by profession, she has over 11 years of distinctive experience in innovation, startup development and growth. She heads the incubation programs of Kerala Startup Mission and spearheads the incubators across the state and provide them educational, mentorship, funding and connect programs. She also manages spaces for startups to expand and propel with adequate supports and to drive the startup incubators, networks and state. It's my pleasure to invite Ms. Surya Tankam for the invited talk on R&D infrastructure, fostering incubators. Madam, please.
Thank you, Sarika. Am I audible?
Yes.
Okay. First of all, I would like to convey my gratitude to KSCSTE for giving me an opportunity. I'm so privileged to be here, part of this session. I would like to share my presentation. Is that possible, right?
Yes, you can share, ma'am.
Is it in the presentation mode?
Yes.
Yeah. So, respected dignitaries and invited speaker, scientists, respected scientists, and my dear friends. Today, I would like to touch upon the topic, the research incubation, like fostering incubators. So, today I would speak about a few research activities of the Scala Startup Mission, and how we support the incubators and how we foster them. Next slide. Can you see my next slide?
No, it's not moving, ma'am.
It's not moving.
Please wait. One second, please. Sure. Sure. ഇതൊന്ന് പ്ലേ ആക്കി നെക്സ്റ്റ്.
Or otherwise, shall we share it from here? Shall we share it from here? There is any difficulty?
Sarika, you can share it from there. I'm so sorry.
Yeah. We'll do it. We'll do it. Okay.
Can you please put on the slideshow mode? Yeah, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry to have that. Can you please move on to the next slide? Yeah. Why research incubation? So I think this part is quite touched by Balram sir, but I would like to also to add a few of them. So it was Startup Mission was actively participating with developing the startup ecosystem in the state. But in the last year, Startup Mission had a new agenda of touching the research and development activities. So what made us think to invest in the research incubation? That's what I am right now trying to deliberate on. So when we looked at the startup development, we could see that many of the startups are coming out with technology innovations, but they would like to have their support from a research and development institutes. Because many of the Kerala is rich with R&D institutes, and and many of the technologies are being developed in these centers. So we thought, why can't we connect these startups with the research institutes, so that it would help the startups to commercialize those IPs developed in these institutes. When we see the figures from the patent filings by the Indian application, we could see there is a 200% increase from 2008 to 2017, and also in terms of filing as well as granting. So another thing is that, like Vijay sir already specified, that KSCSTE's presentation, that there are n number of research and development institutes are being operational in Kerala, and there is many number of IPs are being also invented and developed and filed. So we thought the increasing innovations and filing of IPs is one of the major reasons that Startup Mission thought of starting the research incubation. Another thing is that many of these innovations in these research institutions are not coming out as the scalable product or commercializable products. In this context, we were thinking of connecting startups, bring all the stakeholders to the ecosystem for the R&D startup development ecosystem, like startups, R&D institutes, corporates, investors, everyone. So for that, we thought about a research innovation network Kerala, in research innovation and network Kerala in our state. So another thing is like the technology transfer and commercialization activity is well ordered, and it's very transparent in a country like India. It's very easy for us it's not that much difficult for us to convert the technology transfer into a licensed product. And the availability of the public sector grant for the R&D sectors. There is also noted that there is much tax reliefs in certain geographies in India, because in India it has been noted that there is a parliament bill sanctioned in 2016, and it would provide tax exemption for the research and activities and those technologies patented in India. So these are the major things that Startup Mission had keenly looked in how we can enter the R&D activity. So as Balram sir and Vijay sir rightly pointed out, there is a huge impact of this research and development activity. As such, like creation of a completely new market, or out of this IPs created, or it will add a high value to the existing market. There is also an enhanced revenue and brand visibility for these startups in their target markets. So when we introduce a new product in a highly competitive market, the startup will have a high brand visibility, and they will get a highly customized product. It will also lead to it is also an impact created out of the Industry 4.0 revolution. So Vijay sir has rightly pointed about the public-private partnerships and collaborations. So our research program is also focused on creating such partnership with industries, the complementary industries, R&D institutes, and other organizations. Finally, it will create the knowledge economy of the entire state. So next slide. Next slide, please. So when we look at the top spending in industries of R&D with reference to the startup ecosystem, you would see that healthcare is having more growth during the COVID scenario. Similarly, another sector is like automotive, mainly with the electric vehicles, and softwares and IT. It led to the too many emerging technologies and analytics and semiconductors like IoT, IIoT kind of stuff. So these are the major spending industries under the R&D, major spending R&D industries when we consider with the startup ecosystem. So while all these health industries are spending for the R&D industry, because there are three major points that I have included. One is the patent box, which is approved by the financial bill of 2016 by Government of India. It gives the royalty income to those entrepreneurs or organizations for the patents developed and registered in India. There's a tax concession of 10% for the growth revenue. Second point is that there is a highly skilled and educated demographics are being are there in India, which means that out of the 78 million fresh graduates, about 2.6 million are in the science and technology background. Another thing is that India is among the top 5 markets in the world in case of the emerging technologies, research things, or kind of R&D products. Next slide. So this is the main research and innovation network that we have developed with Kerala Startup Mission. So the R&D startup ecosystem is in a very initial stage with Kerala Startup Mission, and as a first step, as a baby step, we have identified 4 pillars for the R&D ecosystem. One is like the research incubation program. Another is like research grants and technology commercialization grants. Then we are having a platform exclusively for research and development activities. And other is the research network, the network that drive the entire ecosystem. What I would first speak about the research incubation program. Research incubation program is the highly customized R&D incubation program. In this case, in this thing, a startup can have their own IPs or purchase it from R&D institutes like CDAC or Time, SCMST or NIST, and they can develop a prototype on that. The third thing is that they can conduct clinical trials in association with other incubators or with the facilities with us. In case of a health tech or medtech startup, if a startup is developing their prototype, they can be they can get the incubation support services from the timer or do their clinical trials with them. Or in a biotech startup, they can. Hello. So in the case of the biotech startup, they can. Can you take the previous slide, please? They can work with the Crips Bionest at Kochi Technology Innovation Zone and develop similar products. If they are having a hardware or electronics, they can make use the Maker Village incubator at Kochi, and they can done the prototyping network, prototyping activity. Another important aspect of the research incubation program is the technical mentoring. These mentors from the research incubators are made in a mentor. We have created a mentor pool out of the research mentors and scientists and domain experts, so that the startup can avail these mentoring supports from them under the incubation program. So regarding the R&D grant, the startup mission is being provided 30 lakhs rupees R&D grant against equity for the startups. So the 30 lakhs rupees may not be in a fully monetary form. It may be also like a non-monetary, like facility creations, equipments, licensing, etc. The innovators can either have their own IPs or it can be purchased from the IPs can be purchased from other research institutes. So the sectors that we are looking for the R&D grant is deep tech and emerging technologies, hardware and electronics, defense and space, health and medtech, industrial application, and agri-food. The third pillar is the Ring platform. It's a kind of an online portal. It's actually a connecting platform between all the stakeholders like R&D institutes, startups, corporates, venture capitalists, angel investors, etc. So, or the research fellow, any one of them can enroll in our web portal, and they can define their activity. For example, if R&D institute is being registered in the platform, they can showcase the IPs or the products they are trying to license out, or they can exhibit their products or the startup they are working with, etc. Similarly, if a startup is looking for a particular technology, they can register in it, and it will give access to the pool of all the technologies available with that particular institutes. So the startup can select any one of the IPs and work on this, and they can come up with and they can have a tie-up with this particular R&D institute. So another flagship program that we do through this Ring platform is the Ring Demo Day. The Ring Demo Day is being conducted every month or twice in a month. So what it really makes is that we will select a particular research institution for a particular Ring Demo Day, for example, for CMET or SAT, MST or NIST, etc. On that particular day, this particular institute will showcase all their technologies or the startup products, the projects they are working with, the startups or the products they are looking for licensing, etc. So and also they will share the knowledge, speak about the technologies and their facilities, etc. On that particular day, any startup can or any startup or investors or mentor can listen to them and make a tie-up with them. If a startup is looking for a particular technology, they can tie up with this research institute, or if a mentor is looking for mentoring some particular area of business, they can onboard with this R&D institute. So this is a basic platform for all the startups. It also helps the startups to connect with the investors and the researchers. So the Ring Network is actually the community that drive the entire R&D ecosystem. So the Ring Network actually has the R&D, all the stakeholders like R&D institutes, innovators, startups, institutional research experts, corporates, industries, etc. So it will help to have a peer learning of each other and build the startup ecosystem. It will also give an opportunity to build interdisciplinary centers of excellence. If a medtech or a IT startup has to do some common work, they can have we can have a medical analytic platform or a medtech incubator or medtech center of excellence and work it together. That's how it works. So the next slide, please. So I would just touch upon how we are going to support the research incubators through our research and development program. First is that the research and incubator is having a wonderful facility of their own for doing the research, prototype development, and clinical trials, etc. So we will be leveraging the all infrastructure facilities of this R&D infrastructure, and so the startup won't be having any capital cost. There is a zero capital cost for the startup, and also the research incubator doesn't have to build any more infrastructure. They can leverage it fully to the startup. Creation of an organized knowledge pool of scientists. This means that there are so many scientists will be available in a particular research institute, but most of them should be like in an unorganized manner. So our Ring program or the research program will create a organized and strong knowledge pool of scientists, domain and experts, technologies, and we will call it as a mentor panel. So any of the startup will give an access to this knowledge pool of scientists, or the scientists can also give their services to the startup in return. The R&D institutes can showcase their technologies published through our Link platform. They can invite startups to work on their prototypes. If a R&D institute has got a particular IP and they would like to develop it as a prototype, so then this R&D institute can invite the startup. Once the prototype is being developed, the startups and the R&D can connect with the corporate to pilot it. or take it to the business and do a clinical trial with other incubator. And also at the same time, they can be the investors. Our ring platform would also help the investors to fund them. The Arad Institute startups can also identify the investors, right? Investors for the commercialization. Another thing is, since Startup Mission is supporting with R&D grant or innovation grant or idea grant, we have so many grant schemes, loan scheme, etc. The R&D institute shouldn't. It's not necessary that the R&D institute should spend more money for these startups. But if in case R&D institute is having sufficient funds, they can also use their money to productize their inventions. The licensing and other revenue models for the R&D institute. Once the product is being developed and commercialized, the R&D institute can have the licensing fees or equity investments, royalties out of these incubators and startups. Next slide, please. So this is how it is useful for the startups. One is that incubating means the startup. The startup will have a support model in four pillars. Like, one is the innovation lab. Innovation lab is a pool of technologies from the R&D centers. So the technology transfer and licensing happen there. The startup can select the IPs and technologies available with the innovation lab. Startups today is specifically for startup development and growth purpose. We used to conduct the startup bootcamp, which is basically an evangelization program and initial workshops on the entrepreneurship. The startups can be given specific business incubation and acceleration program. The startup will have an access to all the research facilities with the R&D institutes. As I already mentioned, there will be a knowledge pool or mentor pool for the startups. Again, we will support them with patent filing and patent reimbursement support. Startup Mission is also giving grants so that the startups can avail the grants, loans, etc. from Startup Mission. The pitch coaching, the Startup Mission would help them to clean their pitch and help them to pitch before the scientists or mentors or angel investors or VCs or corporates to have their product moving into the market and get it validated. Investor Cafe is another thing that we can connect the startup with the investors and angel investors, where the startup can pitch in before them and get it funded. Business Lab is mainly for once the startup has developed the prototypes, the startup has to push their product into the market or do some clinical trials or do some early adoption or do a piloting. So the Business Lab is mainly with the industry or the corporates where the startups can pilot their product with them. So this is a short. This is easy for the IT and software or medtech or health tech medtech startups, but which means which is driven by the IT. But in case of healthcare startups or like startups incubated like timed and all, it may take a long period. So hence the startup studio and the business lab work together for such companies. But for IT companies and software companies, it is a different model. Like they will be piloting their product or analytics with the corporates, or if a corporate is being connected with a particular research institute, the startup will pilot this product with that institute. So the basic piloting and acceleration will happen there. So they will connect with the industry experts. They will develop how to make their go-to-market strategy or how to introduce their product into the market. So such things are being developed in the business lab. Again, it also has the talent management, which means we will give the best talents from industries, corporates to the startups. They will handhold with the startups and develop the things. The investment corridor is mainly the funding support given to the startups. Like they will be giving grants. Startup Mission has got innovation grants from 2 lakhs to 12 lakhs. Another grant like R&D grant of 30 lakhs, seed funds of 15 lakhs, and equity funds. Equity funds we are from 1 CR to 5 CR kind of stuff. fund of funds and CSR funds. So there are several funding instruments available with the startup mission, and also we will connect them with another funding agencies that would provide grants like Startup India or some other incubators or Nidhi Prayas with timers kind of stuff. So so these are the investments corridor or investment funding available for the startup. So this is the two mothers we foster the incubator as well as the incubatee. So next slide, I think the slide, hello. Hello, could you, so it's that's all about the incubator activities and how this is incubator. I would also like to add a few things into it, which I missed in the slide. We are having a basic prototyping facility with Startup Mission. It is mainly for the electronics and hardware, like Super Fab Labs and Fab Labs, where the rapid prototyping of electronics and hardware technologies has been done. Also, we are having another R&D facility of with Unity for virtual reality, augmented reality, and mixed reality. So these are the current R&D centers we are having with Startup Mission. In fact, the Super Fab Lab and Fab Lab, we work together with Maker Village, as the Maker Village is the incubator for the electronics and hardware. We are also having plans for setting up cancer incubator and design incubators, which mainly, and it will have research and development infrastructure and facilities. So that's all from Kerala Startup Mission. So if you have any queries, I'll be happy to help you. Once again, I would say I'm extremely sorry for having the technical error happen to the meeting. And I would thank KSCSTE for the wonderful opportunity given to me. I would invite all the KSCSTE members and all other listeners to visit our startup mission. And I foresee that the ring project of startup mission has having a good possibility in tying with KSCSTE. Because KSCSTE is tied up with many of the research institutions, and our ring project will be having more R&D centers it will really help the startups to get connected with you guys. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Surya ma'am. Indeed, we are also eagerly waiting to get connected with you. And thank you so much for providing us the information on the various initiatives of the Kerala Startup Mission, and also its various initiatives to foster the incubatees. Thank you so much. And I request you to stay online because we have an open discussion after one more presentation. One more speaker is waiting. Thank you so much. And now we have Sri Shabir M, who is the Deputy Director of Directorate of Industries and Commerce of Kerala, a graduate in mechanical engineering. He served positions as Assistant Engineer in Kerala Water Authority and in Harbour Engineering Department. In the Industries Department, he served as Industries Extension Officer, Assistant District Industries Officer, Assistant Director, and currently the Deputy Director of the Directorate of Industries and Commerce. It's my pleasure to invite Sri Shabir for the invited talk on R&D infrastructure for community synergies. So please.
Yes, madam.
Yes.
Good afternoon. Am I audible?
Yes.
Okay, thanks. Thanks for inviting us to. Thanks for Kerala State Council for Science and Technology and Environment to invite Industries Department to this program. Respected dignitaries in the meeting. Sir, may I share the presentation?
Yes, please. Please.
Is it visible?
You please change into presentation mode.
Okay, is it visible? Okay, thank you. Our department is Department of Industries and Commerce. It is headed by our Principal Secretary Industries. And in the state level, we have our Directorate of Industries and Commerce. And in the district level, we have a district industry centers. And taluk level, we have a taluk industries office is there. And block level, we have industries extension officers. So industries, we are dealing mainly on the focusing on the support of entrepreneurs, hand holding of entrepreneurs, and capacity building, how to make them more, how to make them more capacity, make them more capacity, to increase the capacity of the entrepreneurs. We have done so many programs for the capacity building of entrepreneurs, and also financial support schemes we are implementing. Financial support schemes are for the existing and also new entrepreneurs, for the scaling up of the business, and also for the commercial activities. We have done, we are doing commercial programs for the marketing of the products of MSMEs. So throughout the entire life cycle of an enterprise, we are supporting strong infrastructure is there in the department for supporting the enterprises from the identification level to marketing of that is the commercialization of the product of the enterprises. So your department is dealing with the implementation of various industrial activities and is responsible for promoting, sponsoring, and financing and advising of MSMEs in the state. So we are also already told that the Industries Department is a facilitator for industrial promotion and sustainability of MSMEs. And also we are dealing the traditional sector. Also we are dealing like handloom, care, cashew. These are the main traditional industries in the state. So we are doing so many schemes for the traditional sector also. We have district industry centers in the 14 districts, and also there is a common facility center at Changanasheri and Manjeri, and also documentation center is there in at Trivandrum for documentation of our achievements, and also and also to communicate to the entrepreneurs. We have a documentation center, and a magazine is publishing from the documentation center. Our industrial promotional programs include, first of all, we have to communicate to the LSTD members. We have to we are doing programs for communicate to the LSTD members panchayat level, at the panchayat level, which are the schemes implementing by the departments, and also they have to identify the LSTD members have to identify the beneficiaries for the schemes of the department. So we are doing awareness programs to LSTD members, local self-government panchayat level members, and also after from the LSTD members, from the LSTD members, they collect the submit the list of entrepreneurs. They can identify the entrepreneurs from their level. For the entrepreneurs from the entrepreneurs arrived from the LSTD members, and also from the DAC level, district level, we are conducting awareness programs to entrepreneurs, and also for education institutions, entrepreneurs at block level. It is a one-day program. Awareness how to start an enterprise. It is just a motivation program we are conducting, and also from the awareness program, a group of entrepreneurs, entrepreneurs that can be started, and entrepreneurs who are willing to start enterprises. We prepare a list of entrepreneurs, and for the entrepreneurs, we conduct 15 days entrepreneurs development program. This is the detailed program we are conducting. And also, as part of capacity building of entrepreneurs, we conduct technology clinic, both state level and district level. In the technology clinic program, we are looking into the technologies available at the research institutions, how the technologies can be commercialized with entrepreneurs. We are conducting the technology clinic programs with the help of research R&D institutions in the state, and also in the central institutions like CTCRI, CFTRI, MISO, and NIFT, etc. And also at the end of the after attending the EDP and different programs or departments, we conduct investors meet. Investors meet, taluk level and district level we are conducting. It is for connecting the entrepreneurs to investors. Investors who can be invested in the enterprise. If the entrepreneur who cannot make the investment, in the investors meet, we connect the entrepreneurs with the investors. That means financial institutions also participated. So financial institutions and private investors, we are connecting the entrepreneurs with them. Then technology management development program is in collaboration with the ILO. So these are the capacity building programs we are conducting for the entrepreneurs. Come to the schemes implementing. First and the most important scheme we are implementing, implemented by the department, is entrepreneur support scheme. This is a scheme for new entrepreneurs and also existing entrepreneurs. So an entrepreneur can start manufacturing and or job work related industries with the help of entrepreneur support scheme. In this scheme, we are giving assistance to the fixed capital investments like land, building, etc. The assistance is limited to 15% for general category and maximum of 30% for young SEA, the priority industries. Priority means young women SCST entrepreneurs. We are giving 20% assistance up to rupees 30 lakhs. So almost 1 year we are giving around 1,200 entrepreneurs we are assisted with this scheme. So we are giving priority sector like food processing, garments. They are included in the priority sector and give additional support of 10%. Also in the entrepreneurs start in backward districts, we are giving additional support. Then if an enterprise started with a new technology from a research institution, the entrepreneurs get an additional support of 10%, limited to 10 lakhs. So this is a very good scheme implementing by the department, and we get a good responsible from the entrepreneur community, and around 1,200 entrepreneurs we can assist in each year, and almost 65 crore is in the current year. 65 crore is the plan fund, and almost we can achieve the 65. We can give the 65 crore assistance to the entrepreneurs under this scheme. Then next scheme, this is a new scheme, marginally granted to nano units. This scheme is implementing for the new entrepreneurs only. This is a credit linked scheme. We are giving assistance to the fixed capital and working capital, both the fixed capital and working capital. We are giving support up to 30% of the total project cost, limited to 3 lakhs. So in this scheme, there is a promoter contribution needed, that is 30%. The earlier scheme is not credit linked scheme. In the earlier scheme, if an entrepreneur start an unit with his own investment, he can apply for the fixed capital investment. He can claim the assistance on fixed capital investment. So this scheme is a credit linked scheme for only new units. The maximum assistance is 40% assistance we are giving for special category. Then third one is nano household enterprises. This is a scheme for in each community, in each house. The aim of this scheme, we have to produce a entrepreneur culture in our society. Each house become an enterprise. For this aim, we are implementing this scheme, that is interest subvention to nano household enterprises. For the sake of this scheme, we define a nano enterprise as for fixed capital investment up to 5 lakh, or manufacturing and doing manufacturing or job work enterprises, connected load of 5 HP, and the pollution control board white and green category. Mostly household means household, and each house become an enterprise. The workers are the members of the house. The members in the family members are the workers in this nano household. So we are giving interest subvention to the unit started under this scheme. 6% to 8% interest subvention we are giving for 3 years. So the aim of I told that the aim of this scheme is to generate enterprise. So in each house, if an enterprise, each house to become an enterprise. This is the concept of this scheme. Then fourth one is stressed MSME revival and rehabilitation scheme. This is the scheme for existing enterprise. If an enterprise is identified as stressed, then we have to safeguard the enterprise from the sickness. For this, we are giving we are implementing the stressed MSME revival and rehabilitation scheme. Under this scheme, the assistance that we are providing is if the loan becomes NPA, the promoter can restructure the loan with the help of financial institutions. With the on the financial additional loan availed by the enterprise, we are giving support for the restructuring of the loan, and also for restart expenses, we are giving assistances. If an enterprise becomes sick, he could not. He has to modernize his technology. For this, we are giving assistance under this stressed MSME scheme. And also for assistance are 4 components are there in the assistance: repair and maintenance of existing plant and machinery, and also for additional plant and machinery. So he can clear his dues with the help of this scheme, and also for preparation of the project reports. Next scheme is Vyavasaya Bhadra scheme. This scheme is launched as part of Vyavasaya Bhadra package of COVID package. The scheme is implemented for the industries who has availed working capital or term loan. Both working capital and term loan, we are giving assistance. Who availed a working capital on term loan from 1st April 2019 to 31st April December 2021. On the interest he has to pay to the financial institution, we are giving assistance. 50% of the interest paid by the industry for a period of 12 months, we are giving assistance. The maximum assistance is 1.2 lakh is the maximum assistance. Maximum assistance we are giving is 1.2 lakh. Next one is revival and rehabilitation scheme for defunct MSMEs. This scheme is for defunct MSMEs. If an enterprise become closed, we can revive the enterprise with the help of this scheme. Also, cashew processing enterprises can also be supported with the help of this scheme. This is also a new scheme. Building on part of building renovation and plant and machinery, working capital. For these components, we are giving both building, plant and machinery, and working capital. We are giving assistance under rehabilitation scheme for defunct MSMEs. Next one is for artisan scheme, assistance scheme for handicraft artisans. For artisans in the handicraft sector, we are giving assistance to 40% to 50% of the total fixed capital investment. 2 lakh to 3 lakh is the maximum assistance. This is only for artisans. If an artisan set up a handicraft sector enterprise, he can claim the assistance on his total fixed capital investment. Next one, we are giving support to ED clubs, entrepreneurship development clubs in schools and colleges. So under the DIC, District Industry Center, with the support of District Industry Center, we are starting ED clubs in colleges and schools, and to inculcate entrepreneurship culture in the children and the students. We are giving assistance up to 20,000 rupees per year for each ED club. There is provision for additional assistance. The ED clubs can, if an ED club needs additional assistance for an innovative project from the ED club, we can also support from through this scheme. At present, there is more than 500 ED clubs are there functioning in the state, across the state. And also, we are for the promotion of for the motivation of entrepreneurs. We are giving MSME awards to entrepreneurs. And the state level and district level, we are giving awards. Then, as part of commerce, we are conducting MSME exhibitions in 14 districts, and also Missionary Expo for giving technology to the entrepreneurs can visit the Missionary Expo, and they can identify. They can directly contact the missionary suppliers, and the technology can they can directly view the technologies. And state level agro-food project, this is for agro-food processing enterprises for the marketing, for their marketing. And also we are participating in international trade fairs. Also we are conducting craft mela for artisans. These are the promotional activities as part of commerce of the MSMEs. As part of infrastructure, we have a 40, DAC has 40 development area development plots across the state. Total area is 2,500 square acres are approximately acres are 2,500 acres are there in the DADPs. 52 points, almost all the areas are allotted. Balance is only 52.74 acres is left with the DACs among the DADPs. In the DADPs, total number of MSMEs functioning is 2,600 MSMEs are functioning in the DADPs. Then due to the scarcity of land, we are doing multi-story, we are constructing multi-story gala across the DADPs. One completed project is Adayar Ernakulam is completed. This is as part of infrastructure on infrastructure of the to support infrastructure to the entrepreneurs. So under construction, two multi-story estates are. In multi-story estate, we construct special as a standard design factory, SDF's standard design factories to the entrepreneurs, and we allot the SDFs to the entrepreneurs on a lease basis. Then also for the infrastructure support, we are constructing industrial estates with the help of mini industrial estate cooperative societies. In all 14 districts, we have mini industrial estate cooperative societies. So these societies acquire land and they develop the land and construct industrial sheds. And these sheds are allotted on rent basis or lease basis. There are 88 number of estates across the state. 89.45 acres are functioning under the MIEs. Coming to the services, other services, we have a single window clearance board is functioning in the district and also in the district and also in the state. Up to 50 crore investment, an entrepreneur can visit single window clearance board, can contact the single window clearance board in the district level, and all the consents and permissions he needed can be got from the single window clearance board. Also, the single window clearance board for the online submission of applications to the single window clearance board, there is a KSCSTE portal is there. Kerala single window interface for fast and transparency. A portal is there under the department. So the entrepreneur can submit online application to the portal for getting the consents, various consents like a consent from pollution control board, from labor department, from factories and boilers, from LSCD. So the DMO, so many consents and permissions needed by the entrepreneur to start an enterprise. So he can contact the KSCSTE portal. He can submit the online application to the KSCSTE portal. As far as the new initiative of the department, MSME Facilitation Act 2019, as per this act, an enterprise, an MSME in white, green or orange category of pollution control board can start an enterprise without getting license or permissions from the state government rules and acts. So after the 3 years, the unit can function without this license. After 3 years, he has to get the license within after 3 years, within 6 months, he has to get the license from the State Department. So this is a revolution in the MSME sector of the MSME Facilitation Act 2019. So without state licenses, an enterprise MSME in white, green and orange category can start an enterprise. We are implementing the central government schemes like PMEGP. PMEGP, we are Industries Department or through DIC, we are implementing the PMEGP scheme since 2008-9. And also MSc CDP, Cluster Development Program, Ministry of MSME, the scheme of Ministry of MSME, MSc CDP scheme. In MSc CDP scheme, we are Industries Department. Department is implementing the scheme for these are the 12 common facility centers we are started. CFC is functioning in the department under the MSc CDP scheme. Almost 75 crore total project was 75 crore. project cost is the project cost among the 12 clusters commissioned up to 2021. Total Government of India assistance received for the 12 commissioned clusters around 49.68 crores. Government of Kerala assistance is around 14.49 crores among the 12 commissioned clusters. These are the 4 ongoing clusters under MSCDP is Kaladi Steel Furniture Ernakulam. Ernakulam 2 clusters are ongoing under MSCDP, Plywood cluster Idiki, and Furniture cluster Kozhikode, and Pappadam cluster Trivandrum. These are the 4 clusters ongoing and will be commissioned within 1 or 2 years. And also we have identified so many clusters we have identified under MSCDP. Around 10 new clusters we have already identified. They are in the initial stage only. We have submitted the concept note to these clusters to MSME, and on approval of we will implement these clusters. Then another major scheme implementing by the department is PM formalization of microfood processing. Prime Minister's formalization of microfood processing enterprises. It is a scheme of Ministry of Food Processing Industries. So Industries Department is the nodal department of this scheme. It is a scheme based on the ODOP concept. These are the assistances under this scheme. Department is under departments with the help of Kerala Bureau of Industrial Promotion. It is we are implementing the scheme, and also Kudumbashree Mission is also a part of this scheme. Under these schemes, individual enterprises can start a micro enterprise. They get an assistance of 35% of the total fixed capital investment with a maximum of 10 lakh rupees. FPOs can also be assisted through this scheme. SHGs under Kudumbashree Mission, they get capital assistance and also crediting the grant up to 10 lakh. Then common infrastructure, starting of incubation centers, common facility centers can also be started under this scheme. 35% assistance is there from the Ministry of FBI. Then branding and marketing supports, and also capacity building and capacity building trainings can also be conducted under the PMFME scheme. So this is about our infrastructure on community infrastructure. These are the infrastructure with industries departments that can be supported to the. Our main aim is to support the entrepreneurs. So for the support of entrepreneurs, we are doing so many schemes of the department. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir, for detailing the different initiatives of the Directorate of Industries. And now we have a short time for discussion. I think we have 2 of our speakers online still. And I would appreciate if anyone having any questions or any clarifications needed can unmute yourself and ask to the experts. Or else you can post in the chat box. Okay. Sunil, Registrar KFRI is saying he's unable to unmute. Sunil, please.
Sunil, is it ready?
What, sir?
Unmute ചെയ്തോ?
Okay.
Anyone raise the hand?
Okay. That option is enabled. You can now unmute and ask. Dr. Sahu is congratulating the member secretary of KCST for organizing this program.
I think Registrar KFRI has raised the clarification. That is, KFRI needs a system which mainstreams the innovations in its R&D efforts. Can there be a specific session for KFRI to streamline this? Question is to Madam Surya.
Hello, sir. We are open to have this. We are open to have a session for this, and you can note out my number and email ID from KSCSTE.
Sure, madam. We will give that to KFRI.
Thank you, sir.
Sir, I have a question. I am Harikumar from CWRDM. The question is to Madam Surya. The thing is that if we have some technology with us now, some innovative kind of things, we are actually like maybe in the area of water sources development and management, we are doing so many kind of innovative programs also. How we can actually maybe convert these ideas or maybe whatever we did in the laboratory to the field, or maybe development, and how we can actually start with this thing now, whether we can maybe have a discussion with you people, and maybe transfer this idea to you, and maybe having some incubation there, or maybe you will be developing these kind of ideas. What's the mode of maybe discussion or maybe development which you can actually support us in this field? Now, that is my question.
Hello, sir. First of all, we would like to know what kind of technologies you would like to convert.
Like we are actually working on nanotechnology. Now we are actually developing so many materials for pesticide removal, or maybe some maybe similar kind of areas. So that can we actually maybe approach you to develop it as a water filter with your support now? That is my question.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. You can definitely approach us. We will explore the best possible options for you. Yes, you
What's the kind of maybe mode of contact you, or whether directly we can send a letter to you, or is there any application or something like that?
No, sir. First of all, we will have a discussion, and after that, we will take it forward. So you can have my contact from KCSTE, and we will have an initial discussion about it.
Okay, thank you. We can discuss through email, or maybe through telephone itself. What will be the convenient mode of discussion?
Anything is okay for me. I will connect you to the concerned team.
Okay. Okay, thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Hello, ma'am. I'm Dr. Ramesh Kumar from JNTBJRI.
Okay, Ramesh, please.
Okay. So this is to Surya, ma'am, from Startup Mission. So this oils and fats, ma'am, is very important in our consumable sector. And right now, in India, we are importing nearly 65% of these oils and fats with the cost of nearly 75,000 crores annually. So actually, we are working at JNTBJRI for the last few years on plant-derived oils and fats, and we have a few novel source of oils and fats that can be exploited as a new source of edible oils, as well as bio-illuminating fuels and so on. So how we can proceed this to take up to a commercial scale, ma'am?
Sir, is it any kind of patent filed on it, or?
No. It is like.
Hello, sir. Hello. I think we lost him.
Ramesh, sir.
Proceed.
Hello, sir. Hello, Ramesh,
Yes.
sir.
We'll give you a number.
Yeah,
We'll contact. Okay.
Sure.
Am I not audible?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so we
Sir,
have.
have we
Yes,
filed any
please.
patent, or what is the current status?
No, there is no patent, but it is now just now only we have found out that there are a few sources of these oils and fats that can be exploited as rich source of these oils and fats from our own plant resources. So there is a possibility of starting a small scale industry on this. Because right now there is a huge demand for oils and fats. As I said,
I understand,
okay,
sir. We can either do we can do in 2 steps. Either would you like to transfer the technology or do it by yourself?
that we can do it by.
I think we would always request
But
you
the
to file
sources
your
and that idea, that is innovative.
Yeah. Okay. I think we will have a preliminary discussion on this,
Yes.
and you can have my contact from Ms.
Yes, ma'am.
Sarika.
Okay. Thank you.
We would request you to file the patent where you can approach KSCSTE. I think they are helping very much with the for patenting, right, sir?
Okay. Okay. Thank you.
I think Dutta sir is there to share something with us. Sir. Dutta sir. Material, we can, I think we can move to the concluding remarks and the formal word of thanks.
Okay. Thank you so much for the discussion also. And now let me move on to my duties of proposing the vote of thanks. Most respected Professor Sudhir, the Executive Vice President of KCST, Dr. Pradeep Kumar sir, the Member Secretary, our distinguished guest, Sri Vijay Raghavan sir, Sri Dattan sir, Balram sir, Ms. Surya ma'am, Sri Shabir sir, Vijay Kumar sir, Dr. Debapriya Datta, Dr. Sahu, Dr. Ravikant, the directors and scientists of R&D institutions, my senior colleagues and distinguished participants. This is the third program of the series as part of the Vigyan Utsav and on the theme, the R&D infrastructure in the state and the way forward with special focus on startups and incubators. We in fact got together a lot of inputs on these particular startups and incubators. It's great to be part of this program. I profusely thank on behalf of TST and Kerala State Council for Science, Technology and Environment, Professor KP Sudhir, the Executive Vice President of KCST, for all the support and guidance in organizing the program meticulously. Thank you, sir. Sincere thanks to Dr. S. Pradeep Kumar sir, the Member Secretary of KCST, who's the General Coordinator of the program, and for all his efforts in the smooth conduct of this program. Thank you, sir. On behalf of KCST and DST, I express sincere gratitude to Sri G. Vijay Raghavan, who has joined us today and enlightened us with the keynote address. I sincerely thank on behalf of KCST and DST, Sri Balram S, Chief Executive Officer of TIMET, Sri Chitra Tirunal Institute, Ms. Surya Tangam, the Manager, Innovation and Financing and Procurement, Technopark, Sri Shabir, Deputy Director, Directorate of Industries, Kerala, for sharing a lot of information and on R&D infrastructure, focusing on the industry, startups, incubators, communities, etc. I also thank them for the words of their wisdom and for inspiring us. Our sincere gratitude to Sri MC Dattan, Mentor, Science and Technology Government of Kerala, for joining us and being with us. Thank you, sir. I wholeheartedly thank Dr. K. Vijay Kumar, the Senior Scientist at KCST, for coordinating the conduct of the program meticulously and for detailing the state S&T infrastructure and the KCST initiatives. Thank you, sir. Our sincere thanks to Department of Science and Technology, Government of India, Dr. Debapriya Datta, Dr. Rashmi Sharma for all the guidance and support. Our gratitude to the other officials of different S&T councils, especially Dr. Ravikant Prajapati, who has joined us, Dr. Narottam Sahu, for joining the program, and a special thanks to Gujarat SNT Council for the necessary directions and guidance. On behalf of DST and KCST, I thank the directors, registrar, scientists of R&D institutions for joining us. Thanks to the technical team of KCST, the Information Systems Division for managing the online platform effectively. I sincerely thank all the distinguished participants for the wonderful participation, my senior colleagues at the council. I'm sure you all had a wonderful time listening to the distinguished experts. Thank you one and all. And we now conclude the program. We'll meet you with the next theme next month. Thank you. Now we have the national anthem.
Jana Gana Mana Adhinaya